So I don't do videos like this often, but I felt like, hey, let's change something up. I don't know if I'll get monetization on this video, most likely not because I'll be using a lot of clips, but kind of wanted to do a game breakdown period by period for the Bruins versus Montreal Canadiens. Two teams in different directions. Habs had a great first night. Montembeault played phenomenal against the Toronto Maple Leafs. He shut them down. Bruins, not what the exact start you really wanted there. And I would say the Bruins started out the period strong. Primeau will make a nice save here on a Marchand one-timer. And due to these early opportunities, Primeau would actually trip Marchand, gives the Bruins a power play. And Primeau would make a nice snap here on a Pastrnak one-timer. And then you think later on in that power play, Elias Lindholm gets a goal, right? Well, not so fast. Brazeau with goaltender interference in front of the net. Montreal challenges it. Goal gets waved off. And Andy Brickley wasn't happy with it being called off, but I think it was kind of textbook. I mean, Brazeau's foot's in the crease. He interferes with the goaltender's stick. Yeah, I think that's just kind of black and white there in my personal opinion, so it made sense why they called it off. Later on in the first, McAvoy would have a terrible turnover that causes a rush, which makes Sidorov take a holding penalty on Kirby Dach and puts the Habs on a power play. Bruins cannot clear on that penalty kill. Swayman would make a nice stop, and McAvoy would get a great opportunity going the other way shorthanded. Nice little toe drag move, but wasn't able to connect with his other player there. And then, unfortunately, Habs go the other way. Gallagher would get a nice tip. Montreal goes up 1-0. Bruins would keep pressing, though. Primeau with a nice save on Zacha in close around a Brazeau pass from behind the net. Swayman makes a nice save on a 2-on-1. And tripping penalty by Armia here, and that gives the Boston Bruins an opportunity on the power play again. And McAvoy would score very early on. This was an absolute snipe from the point. Top cheddar. Great shot, great goal. Tied up 1-1. But Cole Caufield had something to say about that. He would be left all alone on the back door. Easy goal for him. Habs go back up with a lead. They're up 2-1. And Primeau would get tested continually. He'd make a nice save on a net drive from Koepke. And then Kastelic, though, shortly after that, didn't know he had this in him. That was an absolute snipe top shelf. Game's tied 2-2. That was not in my scouting report from him. So, interesting game thus far. Back and forth, good action. Frederick would take a hooking penalty. Coyle would block a shot on the PK, but he had an opportunity to maybe go the other way, but he was completely out of gas. And the Bruins would kill off that power play by the Montreal Canadiens. Bruins would test Primeau. He'd make a nice save. Jack guy here, I have to say, great defensive play. Some Primeau, just good saves after that. I have to say, what I've seen from Primeau, he's looked pretty steady. McAvoy would take a shot from a nice Brazeau pass from behind the net. And then Elias Lindholm on a tip from Zadorov. Bruins go up 3-2. And that might change the scoring. This recording, it looked like on the replay for a second it might have gone off Zacha, but I think that's Lindholm's goal. So teammates on Calgary and Vancouver stay on the same page. Bruins would end this period staying up 3-2. I would say after the first period, my comments, it seems like Lindholm and Pastrnak are not on the same page yet, which makes sense. It's very early. Lindholm's new. He just has to build some type of chemistry with Pastrnak, but you can see there's a little bit of promise there. And, you know, the goals were really bad defensive breakdowns. I think the Bruins took it to the Habs for the most part, but when they had breakdowns, they were really, really bad. So in my opinion, the Bruins are playing pretty solid. They just need to kind of tighten up defensively. So the second period, the game kind of kept a very similar tone. Bruins were all over the Canadiens for good stretches. Primeau would start out with a nice save on Elias Lindholm. Hudson would have a nice block shot on a Pastrnak opportunity. Hudson's a young defenseman that I think is going to be very, very good, especially when he hits its prime. Primeau with another nice save here on a wraparound. Primeau with a great save on Brazeau in front of the net. This was a A1 opportunity, a fantastic save. And another play I have to point out is Caufield with an amazing back check here to break up this opportunity. Pastrnak passing over to Lindholm. Caufield does not give up on the play, is able to just break it up. I love seeing plays like that. It was a fantastic effort by Caufield to break up a good chance to score there for the Bruins. Hudson would get a holding penalty on Coyle. Yes, I was just praising him, but unfortunately get a holding call on Coyle. Anderson to start off on the Bruins power play. The Canadiens, Anderson would go the other way with a great PK opportunity, but it would go off the bar. No dice for him. And the power play was underwhelming. Pastrnak would lose the puck. Just nothing really would come of it. So, score remains 3-2 Bruins. Swayman would make a nice save here on Gallagher on a good play by the Habs. Nice passing, nice movement. Coyle would then take a high sticking penalty, which I guess he hook high stick the Casper the Friendly Ghost. I don't even know who he thought it was, but that was just a terrible call. Swayman would make a nice glove save on a Suzuki opportunity. He kind of bailed Beecher out on a pass over to, I think it was Lindholm, who had no stick. So, good opportunity for the Habs. Swayman comes up big. He's not been overly tested, but he's made some nice stops in this game. And then Marchand, great individual effort here. Bruins going for a line change. He understands that. He goes around the net, causing Matheson to trip him in his own zone. The Bruins make it 4-on-4 and would have an abbreviated power play. And on that abbreviated power play, Primeau would make another great save on Pastrnak. And then Coyle would make a bad pass. It would turn over in the Habs zone, but nothing would really come of it, so we kind of lucked out there. But then finally, the Bruins would get some luck on a great individual effort by Pavel Zacha. Marchand with a great effort, then Zacha with a great effort later in this period. He's the one that creates this. Down low, good effort, throws it to Pastrnak on a nice pass. Bruins go up 4-2. No opportunity for Primeau to make a nice save there. That was just absolute rocket of a shot. Beecher, about a minute later, he would have a great net drive, and Koepke, he goes to the net, gets the rebound, and now the Bruins are up 5-2. His first goal as a Bruin. Yeah, I mean, it's 5-2, and that might not look great for the goaltender, but I don't think Primeau's really played that bad. Maybe you could say that fifth one, you want him to keep that left pad on the ice, but I don't think he's played that bad. McAvoy would get a tripping penalty on Suzuki. About 22 seconds left. Swayman would make a nice save, but he can't control the rebound. And then Suzuki and Swayman would kind of get into it at the end of the period. So we go into the second intermission with the Bruins up 5-2. And if you're a Bruins fan, you got to like the effort you're seeing here. Mind you, it was a little bit more even. I think the Canadiens were able to bottle it up a little bit more about midway through the second period. But, yeah, I mean, this is what you want to see. Bruins were able to score very quickly and kind of have a good opportunity to make this game get a little bit out of hand. Bruins are looking competent. And as for the Canadiens, they look overwhelmed at this point. Just some sloppy play. I think they're trying. Primeau, I think, while his stats are not going to be great, I think he's done pretty solid in net considering the opportunity he's faced. And we're going to go into the third period. Bruins up 5-2. The Habs are going to need to kick things into gear if they're going to make this a game. So the third period was a wild ride. Now, the Bruins would have a very good opportunity early. Primeau would make a really nice stop. And then at 18:06, a bad turnover by the Bruins, saved by Swayman. So the Canadiens in the third, they did show a lot of fight. They were a better team in the third in comparison to the previous two periods. They weren't just going to lay down and die. Carlo would have a bad turnover, pass it to the wrong team, a.k.a. Gallagher. He just shoots it off the net, off the side, so nothing would really come of that. Coyle would later rip a shot off the bar in retaliation going the other way. And then Caufield would get called on a penalty. So the Bruins go on the power play. And Zacha, he has a great chance here. He's just not able to bury the puck in the empty net. Primeau would make a nice kick save as the power play expires. I liked a lot of the movement on the power play. I liked the rotation. I liked the willingness to shoot. So while they didn't convert on that, I thought that was a very, very good power play. Kirby Dach would hit the post, and McAvoy would get a delay of game penalty for knocking the net off its moorings on purpose. So Canadiens, they will go on the power play. Now, during this penalty kill by the Bruins, Zadorov would hit Kirby Dach extremely hard. Swayman would make a nice save, but Anderson would get a goal later on a great tip on a goalie point shot. At first, thought goalie just beat Swayman. I'm like, man, that's kind of a rough one, but that Anderson tip around slot area, phenomenal tip. Not much of a chance there for Swayman. We have ourselves a 5-3 game. Primeau would make a nice stop on Geekie in the slot. Brazeau and Frederick would team up on a double hit, make them go on a 2-on-1. Brazeau, unfortunately, not able to bury it, misses the net wide. Habs go the other way. Swayman would make a nice stop. And Kastelic, with about 5 minutes left in the game, throws a nice hit here, kind of showcasing what he has. I mean, he's scored a goal in this game at this point. But, the Bruins brought him in for his fourth-line presence, playing a physical, disciplined game. Because I will say, the defensive aspect of his game I really did like tonight. Swayman would make a great save on Gallagher after a puck bounced off the ref. But a little over 20 seconds later, Gallagher would score a goal essentially by himself. Zadorov had no stick, so he's Gallagher in the slot. We got ourselves a 5-4 game. But Kastelic, a man that I thought played a really good game tonight. I wouldn't say I was expecting in his first time at the TD Garden scoring two. Kastelic goes around trying to feed Beecher here, takes a kind of a lucky bounce. Second goal of the game for Kastelic. The Bruins are now up 6-4. Now, late in the third period, Marchand was called for a delay of game penalty. I was kind of surprised by this call. It was in the offensive zone. I guess they thought he was just throwing it out for the heck of it. And he looked gassed. Maybe that was a weird call. I thought that was kind of foolish. Nothing. Unfortunately for the Bruins, they would kill it off because Matheson would miss the net high. Beecher, with an empty net, goes offside. That was kind of a low-cow moment right there with a little over a minute left. But the Bruins hang on to win this game 6-4. Bruins, I thought, played okay in this game. First and second period, they were far better. Third period, they kind of let it get a little too close. They get the 6-4 win. But, there's areas of the game they have to clean up. And to be expected. Some new players, some same players in different positions. And, what I would take away is I did like the fourth line. And the young guys they have in the Bruins lineup, man, some of those guys are big. Like, Tufte's 6'6"? He's a big kid. So the Bruins definitely want to add a little bit size in the offseason. I mean, they brought in Zadorov, they have Tufte, they have Brazil, they brought him back, obviously, from last year. They have size, and I like that. I think the Bruins having some good physicality in the bottom six is always a good thing. And I think Kastelic will probably become a fan favorite. And as for the Canadiens, you got to like the fight you saw in the third period if you're a Habs fan. And you got to like the young talent. I mean, Hudson had some really good moments in this game, while he probably had a few moments that, a couple of hiccups here and there. It kind of showcases that while the Habs are not a top contender by any means, they have some young talent. I think they're going to surprise some people this season. I don't think they're just going to be a doormat team. Montembeault had a great first game against the Maple Leafs. Maple Leafs have a lot of firepower. They beat them 1-0. They still made this a game against the Bruins, making it 6-4. Yes, it's a loss. But if I'm a Habs fan, I'm not completely discouraged by this loss. You've been able to play against playoff caliber teams and keep up with them. And hats off to the Habs. They at one point I was like, man, this might just go the other way for the Bruins. But 6-4 win for the Bruins. Bruins got to definitely clean up defensive responsibilities a bit, and some of it was some bad bounces, but there's a little bit more there to be had. I would say they played better defensively against the Habs than in the Florida Panthers, but two different caliber teams right there, if I'm being honest with you. But I'd like to know your thoughts down below in the comments section. Who impressed you the most in this game? What play stood out to you the most? And if you enjoyed this type of content in this type of format, let me know. When I'm on the boats like this, I'll try to do it when I can, but it becomes a little bit more difficult to do so because when these engines are on, it's extremely loud. So let me know your thoughts. Appreciate you guys watching. I'll see you in the next one.